2 Samuel says this, 9:3. You can read the whole story, but I'm going to just read 2 verses. The king then asked, the king is David, is anyone still alive from Saul's family? If so, I want to show God's kindness to him. David didn't say, I want to show some kindness. He said, I want to show God's kindness. What's God's kindness? You can't give anything back. How do you really give God anything when he has everything? So David's looking for somebody that he can just bless. Somebody that can't give him anything back, has no potential. This is a beautiful picture of God's grace. We had nothing to bring to God, but he had everything to give us. So Ziba, which was one of the servants of David's, he said, there's this guy, he's the grandson of Saul, the son of Jonathan. His name is Mephibosheth. The name in Hebrew means shame. He's a shameful person. He doesn't have anything. He was crippled in both legs. He had had an accident when they were running from war, and the nurse dropped him, and he became completely crippled. What's that a type and shadow of? This was a true story about Mephibosheth, but also what does it illustrate to us? We were totally broken when we came to God. Oh, we might have had our legs to walk, but we didn't know where we were going. We may even had great eyesight, but we had no vision. I love what Helen Keller said. What's worse than being blind is living a life with no vision. God gave us that. When God says he calls the lame to walk, the blind to see, the deaf to hear, it's twofold. Yes, your bodies are healed, but it also, spiritually speaking, you received all that. So Mephibosheth comes to David, and listen to what he says, because David is about to pronounce a blessing on him that is so far beyond anything. This guy is living. Tell you how bad his life was. If Mephibosheth wasn't bad enough, how'd you like somebody to put that name on you? Okay, Mephibosheth. How you doing, Mephibosheth? And then understanding Hebrew culture, see, it wasn't just a name. Their name meant something, and people knew what it meant. So when you called him Mephibosheth, it wasn't like, well, that's kind of a strange name. People understood, oh, there comes the face of shame. Why? Because he had lost his father and his grandfather, and the kingdom was gone. He didn't have nothing, not even his ability to get around. David said, see if you can find somebody I can show some kindness to. And what he done is he brought Mephibosheth into the castle. He set him at the king's table. It would be like you and I living somewhere backwood. Nobody ever heard of us. Nobody knew us. And then all of a sudden, either the president or the king or a queen or somebody said, bring that person. You sit down at the royal table and you eat with them from now on. You're nobody, but then all of a sudden you're somebody. David didn't stop there. He said, not only bring him here and let him eat at my table every day, he said, restore to him everything Saul's kingdom had. There's the picture of grace that God has for you and I. See, God don't want to just save you. He wants to restore to you what the enemy stole. See, anything the enemy stole from my parents, God wants me to get it back. Anything was stolen in my lineage from my grandfather. I think the Bible refers to it a lot of times, 7 generations. God wants to get that back to you. Yes, Lord. He could just corrected me. I love that. He don't want to get that back to you. He has gotten that back to you if you can renew your mind to it. You already have it. You just got to renew your mind and start to take authority over it. Sozo, nothing missing, nothing broken, nothing lacking. I wished above all that you prosper and be in health, even as your soul prospers. In other words, even as you renew your mind. The soul, talking about your mind, will, and emotion. And when you renew your mind to the things of God, all that stuff is drawn back to you. Why? Because that's faith. Faith is receiving. You're receiving by faith what God's already accomplished.